Hey YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So in the same way that a comparison between the 12th Doctor in both LEGO and character building form, we've got that again in this video, except between the 11th Doctor. On the left, the one that's at the moment only available in the LEGO Ideas Doctor Who Starter set, and the one on the right, which was the first version of the Doctor released by Character Building, available in the first waves of sets and also blind bag packaging. The reason I picked these ones to compare is because I believe they're trying to recreate the same outfit, but as we'll see in a moment, how successful that was remains to be seen. So, what are we waiting for? Let's do it. So the first thing I'm going to comment on yet again is the different proportions in these styles of figures. As you can see, the character building one is much more realistic in terms of proportions, to some extent, in the way the shoulders are wider than the hips. But equally, they have comically large feet and bizarre claw-like hands in character building. Whereas the LEGO one on the left has the classic LEGO minifigure style look to it, but that is equally, inaccurate in the same way that it has the smaller shoulders than the hips, which is, not how people usually look. So, that aside, it comes down to personal preferences, but the biggest thing about these Doctors is how different they are, considering they're meant to be the same actor/character. The first difference here is that the character building version of the 11th Doctor has black hair compared to the much lighter brown hair on the LEGO version. To me, I'm not sure which one of these seems right. Now, I've got a bias towards the character building one simply because of the huge amount of filming I've done with that character building figure. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my old channel, Extreme Trains. Trains Extreme, my bad. Now I'm getting confused, how embarrassing. And you'll see some stuff I did with these kind of figures. So I'm not particularly sure. And regards to the show, it's quite dark, but whether it's a brown or a black is not something which I will be able to answer with total confidence. So I think the hair is just really different, which makes this comparison all the more bizarre. Then we move on to the face, where something is just very, very different about it. And I think the Matt Smith version of the LEGO one looks really old. I understand what they were trying to do with the chin and the cheek lines, but I think, unfortunately, they've made him look a lot older than he actually is in the show. Whereas, on the other hand, the character building one successfully conserves that youthful kind of look by actually being able to have a narrow face to get that chin across, and by having that nose, which makes him look less weirdly out of proportion. So in terms of the faces, I think the character building one is slightly less funny looking and more youthful. Then we come down to the outfits. Again, the same brown looks very different on the two different Doctor Who figures. In this case, I'd probably say the character building one was maybe slightly more accurate, but the printing on the LEGO one is infinitely superior in that you get all the details of the coats, you get the stripes on the shirt, as well as the red bow tie. Whereas if you have a look at the show on character building, you can very clearly see it's minimal detailings on all of that. But more importantly, the Doctor actually usually wears a coat, and that is actually shown on the LEGO version. As you can see, the print of the coat comes down through the hip piece and onto the legs, which doesn't happen on the character building one, which actually just stops at the legs. Now, speaking of the legs is where it gets a little bit weird. I'll see if I can spin them around to show you just how different they are. Again, you can see the LEGO one's got a lot of printing on the back, which is much more realistic. So it's kind of hard to see because my camera is not playing nice with me at the moment. But these legs here are actually blue with black feet, whereas the LEGO ones are actually the same color brown, just about, a couple of shades darker maybe, as the hairpiece. So the pants are a totally different color, which is odd to me. I don't know. I feel like they're trying to create the same outfit, but yet there's so much difference in how that actually comes out. So I'm not totally sure what's going on there, and don't know if I can make an accurate comment on which one I prefer. So when you're looking just at the figures, accessories aside, it's kind of hard. Oopsie, now they're jiggling around. It's kind of hard to say which one is more accurate. I do slightly lean towards the version we've got here, the character building one, but again, that might just be my biases. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below. But obviously that's not all these guys have got. Taking a quick look at the accessories, this is the same sonic screwdriver that comes with the 12th Doctor, which makes sense because up until the end of series 9, he had exactly the same sonic screwdriver. And I've already said in my previous reviews that the sonic screwdriver done by LEGO is above and beyond the one that was done by Character Building, simply for the fact that it's painted and coloured and in the more logical open-end position, which I think looks much better for a figure. Considering it's only appeared in one set, the LEGO one also comes with a fez, which is cool as an accessory, but functionally it's not very practical because without using something like blue tack or sticky tape, there's no way to attach the fez to Matt Smith's head, unless of course you remove his hair, like so, which just ends up looking very, very, very ridiculous. So you can use it, but it ends up looking quite silly because it makes the Doctor look bald, which is not the case. But it is nice to get the accessory, and it's a nice little homage to that reference and an ongoing joke in the actual show with this actor in it. That said, however, if we're talking about accessories, there are multiple different outfits available for the character building version of the Doctor. I think there ends up being about 4 or 5 different outfits that you could get. And one of them actually did have a special coat piece, which hung down over the back to indicate that there was a coat. So, in that sense, they're probably, to some extent, tied, although in different ways. Although I think the sonic screwdriver, which is probably the most important accessory, is done absolutely perfectly on the LEGO version of this figure. But this Matt Smith one's got something else that's hiding. So, as you can see, the people at the Doctor Who team, or at LEGO, working on this Doctor Who set, gave Matt Smith an extra face, which I think is really cool, and again, really appreciated. But this face equally looks terribly, terribly old. I cannot look past those, what are meant to be, cheekbones or, indications of such, looking like facial wrinkles. And so this figure just looks really old, particularly with this face on. So while I appreciate the addition of the extra face, I think it really makes this character look very, very bizarre, and just doesn't quite work out in the way that they wanted to. So, noting everything I've just explained to you about the pros and cons and the differences between these figures, which one is my favourite? Well, I think as much as I love the character building version, I think the way they did the artwork and the costuming and etc. on the LEGO one is spectacular, and I think it really, really does capture the kind of crazy, zany outfits that the 11th Doctor wore. That said, I think the headpiece on the character building is miles and beyond the one that's on the LEGO version, simply because it just captures that youthful kind of cheeky smile that Matt Smith had compared to that weird old man style face that they've given the LEGO version, simply because of the restrictions of having the same uniform style head shape that's perfectly round. So in the situation where you could switch the heads over, or the faces at least over, I think you'd have the perfect Doctor. On net, I think it's pretty line ball, because I would say the faces are something that's pretty important. Unlike in the LEGO one, where I thought that Peter Capaldi's face on the LEGO version was much, much better, this 11th Doctor is a little bit more line ball because of that massive similarity. But hey, let me know what you guys think. If you've got either of these, let me know which one you prefer. Considering that there are a lot more outfits for the character building one than there are for the LEGO one, that might be another reason you prefer it, because you can put him in different costumes and poses from different episodes. I don't know, it's all up to you. Either way, apologies for the somewhat weird lighting in this video. I did my last one excellently, and I totally have forgotten how I lit that in not a weird way. But also I've said I'm going to make this video forever, so I thought I'd better finally get up there and make it. So if you've got any questions, let me know. Don't forget to do all those cool things you do on YouTube, like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Hate having to ask people to subscribe, but I have to do it anyway because YouTube these days is very weird. And yeah, okay, cool. I think that's all I've got to say before I start rambling off into existence. So thanks for watching, and as always, that's all we've got time for. This is Extreme Trains.